Hi, welcome to Round Robin. I'm Celine Guerrero, Marketing Outreach Manager for the City of Hampton. With us today, we have two great guests who are going to provide a lot of information on recycling. Chip McDonough of the Public Works Solid Waste, you are the superintendent. Yes. And we have Debbie Blanton of the Hampton Clean City Commission. I'm going to start with you, Chip. You were here last year, very recent. You gave us a rundown of the do's and don'ts of recycling, but there have been some updates. Can you tell us what's new now?
Well, yes, there has. We're still in partnership with Tidewater Fiber Corporation, who takes care of all of our recycling materials that's collected at your house. The new products that will be allowed in the recycling container are the gamble top containers, such as milk cartons, juice cartons, the small juice cartons. Mm-hmm. And it's called hydroplating, and pretty much what they do is they heat that up, take off all the waxing, pull out the pulp, and then that pulp is recycled and made into cardboard and other paper products. So that's several more items that can be placed into your recycling container, whereas before the waxed materials were not allowed. Mm-hmm. So they have come up with a system to extract all that pulp and reuse that as well. Pie pans that are cleaned can be put into the recycling container, aluminum. Mm-hmm. We don't want pots and pans or anything
and
dense.
Those people do put those in there.
Occasionally are. That comes out as contamination. Uh-huh. We still do not want yard waste, grass, leaves, small trimmings. That's, again, a bulk collection, a vegetative waste collection.
And can you explain, okay, if you put those in there, what happens at the facility and what it costs also? Because there are, you know, hey, I can dump in my clippings,
wishful thinking,
don't think anything of it, but what happens?
If it's in the container and we don't see it and it actually gets dumped into the vehicle, it still is extracted at the plant. That becomes a waste product, which ends up costing us the disposal of that material.
And it ends up in the landfill.
Yes.
So you're not doing anything good by putting it in there.
Yeah, you think you're getting away with it, but
you think you are.
You don't. And now, Debbie, do you want to tell us about the benefits? We hear, you know, recycling and reducing waste and all, but what, you know, environmentally, it is a big benefit for us, and it, you know, and it's very widespreadly known now. Right. But some people still don't recycle. Right. But why should they?
Well, let's just start off with our own waste collection. If you live in a house and you have a green trash toter, then your trash is going to go to the steam plant. And many of the recyclables that you put into that trash then go through the steam plant. Some of them melt and end up clogging up the steam plant operations, like the glass and the aluminum. Mm. And so, first of all, we're messing up our own process if we include those things. And our regular solid waste disposal will move much more smoothly if we take the time to recycle. But then on top of that, there are the benefits of saving resources, and I can go through, you know, you save trees, you save the bauxite ore when you recycle aluminum, you save iron ore and the various constituents that go into making steel, you save oil when you recycle plastics. I mean, you're saving a lot of resources by doing that. And those resources that are saved are not offset by the amount of transportation that's used to transport the recyclables. It's not an apples to apples comparison. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, we're creating jobs. I recently visited the Tidewater Fiber material recovery facility, and they have, I believe they said, over 300 employees. Wow. And those are people who, if we didn't all recycle, those people would not have those jobs. Right. So there are a lot of benefits to recycling. I think, and this is just from the point of view of someone who's been recycling for a long time, is that one thing it does is it makes you think. Mm-hmm. Because you can't just automatically throw something away. You have to stop and think about it. When you stop and think, then you're realizing the value of those things. And it just kind of gives you a whole different point of view about trash.
Right.
You start looking at ways to reduce it and reuse it, and in addition to recycling it.
And now Hampton is reducing that whole thought process with the mailer that you all send out every year. When can we expect to get ours in the mail.
Residential mailing should be the first, second week of January.
Okay.
It will be a one-year calendar this year. We may change that in previous coming years just to, again, save a little bit of
Right.
processing. But they should be able to see this in the first weeks of January.
Right, and this isn't quite updated yet, but it will be updated and it will be on the website.
Yes.
But this gives you a nice visual of what is acceptable and what isn't. Another thing that I do want to talk about, because it's the holidays and we're cooking and we're baking, grease and oils. You know, Chip, how can people, what can people do? Don't put it down the drain, because that's an entirely different department.
Causes a whole separate issue. If you let your fats from any of the cooking materials semi-gel, or again, put it in with the regular garbage that it absorbs in that material before it's put in your trash can, not a problem. It gets burned at the steam plant with all the rest of the refuse. If you put it in jugs and it's still a liquid, that sets up another problem for us based on the packing system of that vehicle that picks up your refuse. It could explode while it's in the packing process,
Right.
which then sprays out of the top of the vehicle, gets into the vehicles, the road, and it becomes another EPA issue that we have to clean up, and it's costly.
Right.
So by doing it the proper way, letting it absorb into all the rest of your refuse, your household refuse, in the plastic bags, then it's all burned. We have no issues with that. The steam plant gets plenty of fuel, and it helps reduce all the other issues that may have come up.
Right. And Debbie and I, we were talking what you do at home.
We let it cool, and then we pour it over our regular trash. And we have a plastic bag in our trash can, and we pour it over the regular trash, and it's absorbed by the things that are in the regular trash, and then it just goes to the steam plant with our green toter garbage.
Right. And now I have witnessed this, and I did not stop these people, so I apologize. But they pour it into a can, and all right, that's all good. You know, maybe it'll gel in there, and they're going to toss it in the trash. But they tossed it into the recycling bin.
No.
Again, grease is not supposed to be in the recycling. No food products in your recycling.
They're halfway right there, but.
But we get a lot of materials in that recycling container when it's overabundance, holidays, when you have extra people and you don't have room in the trash can. We ask that if you need a separate container, that you call 311. They'll send us a request ticket, and you can purchase a second container.
Right. And now we also were talking about, it is the holidays. There is oil, there is grease. There's also more paper trash, Debbie. Is that correct? What can we do to reduce that? What can we recycle during the holidays?
Well, there's lots of ways to reduce it, but let's just talk about recycling first, because it just kills me when I see all those boxes going into the regular trash. The first and best thing you can do to save space in your trash can and your recycling container is to flatten things.
Right.
Like flatten the boxes. And if you flatten the boxes...
And there's a certain way to put them in, right? Not flat over, because they get stuck.
Yeah, just kind of put them in vertically.
I get my kids to play in them for a while. Get
them all nice and beaten up.
They love it. Christmas time, they don't care about the toys.
Right.
Or the boxes.
But if you flatten your boxes, you're not going to be leaving the packing peanuts in. Packing peanuts are a big no-no for recycling. So, see if you can find somebody who can use those packing peanuts. A lot of packing places can, and people who have local online businesses can use them.
We do use them.
So find someone who can use them, or if nothing else, wrap them up in a plastic bag and put them in the garbage. But the boxes need to be flattened. In addition to that, the rollers from the wrapping paper can go into your recycling container. The old wrapping paper, once you've opened everything, can go into the recycling container, and it will fit better if you fold it up and flatten it. A lot of people, when they get done with it, ball it up. But no, roll it up and flatten it. It'll all fit in there much better. And then just in general, thinking about reducing trash, because that's really the name of the game. You know, the 3 R's go reduce, reuse, recycle. They
Right.
don't go recycle, reuse, reduce. So we want to reduce the amount of trash that we create. So maybe instead of buying a bunch of wrapping paper, we use decorative Christmas pillowcases to package some of our Christmas presents in. Or instead of trying to wrap a bike in a great big, you know, like 5 rolls of wrapping paper, why not just
Right.
put a bow on it
Right.
and
You
put
know,
it out in the night?
Yeah, to be honest, we just leave the presents out under the tree
Right.
most of the times. Like if it's a big item, I'm not going to bother with wrapping it.
Right.
I just leave it under the tree. Santa Claus didn't have time. He doesn't have
Exactly.
wrapping paper.
Exactly.
So yeah, and there are different ways. And then reusing the gift bags also is what I do.
Using
I
gift
get a
bags and
gift.
boxes. You can make small gift bags out of gift boxes out of Christmas
Right.
cards. You can make gift tags out of old Christmas cards. I mean, there's so many ways that you can reduce and reuse what you already have.
Exactly.
And then what's left over, you can recycle.
Right.
But the key really is those 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle.
Right. And Chip, is there anything else that you want to add before we close? I do want you to go through the list of acceptable items, but anything you want to add before that?
Well, we talked a little bit about bulk.
Right.
Previously,
Bulk,
so-
yes.
One of the things that I would like to remind everyone is that the ordinances that we have in place were set up for normal household setouts. It was determined long ago that approximately 10 cubic yards, which is the size of an approximate small-sized pickup truck,
Right.
basically a 10 by 10 or a 13 by 10 vehicle or size, no more than 3.5 feet tall. That's considered normal household setout. So if you have a large tree that you're having either cut down, first of all, the contractor should be responsible for hauling
Right.
that material away. If you do it yourself, you should still only put the 10 cubic yards out for collection per week. As long as it's not at the curb, and it's less than the 10 cubic yards, we're going to collect it.
Okay.
If it's more than the 10 cubic yards, you put the whole entire material out there, that falls into the special collection fee. We take approximately 9,000 to 15,000 tons of vegetative waste to our recycler, and that's all part of the reduce and reuse.
Right.
That's chipped and made into
Right.
mulch and all sorts of other products.
Right.
So by doing so, it frees up our vehicles to get the collection days collected, reduces the amount of time we spend at one location to get everything collected. Along with that, again, the special collection fee for anything larger than the 10 cubic yards is a $250 collection fee that pays for the driver, the truck, and the disposal. And it doesn't really cover 100% of that cost. So
Okay.
the smaller the piles, the better off that we are,
Right.
and the less that it costs the residents to get rid of.
Right. And we did get a lot of calls recently with Hurricane Matthew. That was a fast storm, as you said, but people are still even picking up and still calling, like, what do we do with all this?
It is.
And-
And again, vegetative waste, 10 cubic yards, construction materials, if it's household items, falls into a whole other area. So again, that's a special collection fee for us to get rid of and
Right.
dispose of. Usually during those storms, if it's a declared storm, city manager, governor, once it's declared a storm, our rules change slightly
Right.
because we have to get it up off the streets. Once the storm is passed, reasonable amount of time for people to get their materials out, we're still in that storm mode, we're still going to get it collected.
True.
Well beyond that, we've still had calls from Isabel, which has
Really?
been many years
That's
ago.
been years.
So we're well past a collection of
Right.
any kind for those items.
Okay, and people can find all this information online, or they could also call 311 if they have any questions.
Correct. At the Hampton.gov site, solid waste, it has all the information that we've discussed
Right.
in previous shows as well. So all the new material will be online as well, as far as the Gamble Top products that can be now
Okay.
recycled. All of the ordinance information can be assessed and gotten to online as well at the Hampton.gov site. So all the information is available electronically if you have the means to get to it.
Exactly.
Or
And-
you can call 311
Right.
and send in a ticket, and we'll be more than happy
And
to
then
help
they'll
them
be
out.
getting the mailer first, second
Correct.
week of January, and they'll have it at their own disposal then. So
Can I put in a plug
Sure.
for Christmas trees? The
Oh,
live cut
yes.
Christmas trees. After Christmas, Public Works picks those up too.
Regular
So,
collection days.
Yeah, just
Okay.
make sure that all the ornaments are off, that there aren't any
Right.
stands still attached to them and that
Lights.
sort of thing.
No lights,
no
no
lights,
tinsel,
no
and
tinsel,
right.
none of that. But you know, if you aren't going to use it in your backyard for a little bit of habitat back in the corner or whatever, then please do put it at the curb, and don't put it, like, try to shove it into your garbage container or whatever. You know, I mean,
we'll do it, but
Yeah,
it's a good
it's-
reminder. Just leave it out there.
right? They'll take it, and it'll be turned into mulch.
It will, along
Yeah.
with all the other
Yes, it will.
stuff. All right. Well, thank you two for being here, and we hope that you learned something. And if you have any questions, go to hampton.gov/solid waste or call 311. Thanks for watching.